there's one rule gamers are conditioned to believe, it's that they should never let their characters die. In the most extreme cases, passing away forces you to begin again at the very start of the game. However, there are times when the exact opposite is true. In fact, there are certain developers who outright incentivize you to make fatal mistakes. Maybe that last defeat yielded a new achievement. Maybe sacrificing yourself too many times unlocks a new gameplay element. Or maybe biting the bullet is the lone method for finding that secret character or item. Whatever the case may be, the following 10 titles demonstrate that dying might not be the worst scenario. On the contrary, resting in peace during these adventures is the sole means of reaping some grim yet gratifying rewards. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 video game rewards unlocked by dying. Number 10. Continuously cheaper armor. Undertale. Undertale is irresistibly charming and unique for numerous reasons, while also being firmly rooted in the history of classic RPGs, namely the Mother series. Indeed, its addictive gameplay, brilliant meta humor, and standout personalities arguably turned it into 2015's superlative indie title. Obviously, none of that implies that Undertale is a cakewalk. To be blunt, it can get extremely demanding and exasperating at certain points, so players are definitely gonna draw their final breath a lot along the way. Luckily, creator Toby Fox decided to assist main character Frisk when necessary via the significantly powerful Temi armor, which gets cheaper and cheaper with every subsequent death. Originally a non-genocide route, Frisk can purchase the armor from the Tem shop for 9,999 gold. That is after they pay the 1,000 gold Tem pay for colleague fee for the shopkeeper's university scholarship, but it drops in price to 1,000 gold if Frisk gives up the ghost. This trick can be exploited roughly 24 times until the final price is a mere 750 bucks. Not too shabby. Number 9. Getting GOGO. Final Fantasy VI. Released in April of 1994, Final Fantasy VI, initially put out as Final Fantasy III in North America, is often ranked as the greatest entry in the franchise. With its multifaceted characters, downright apocalyptic storyline, and truly tragic and shocking emotional beats, it's easy to see why. One of the most useful people in the game is GOGO, a mysterious figure who's able to mimic what other people do, but they're unobtainable without first surrendering all your active crew. Specifically, GOGO is found once the returners are swallowed by the Zone Eater on Triangle Island. When the group awakens, they can walk to the back of the cave-like system in the Zone Eater's belly and find the mime. After explaining your plight to them, they'll join the party. Although they may seem limited in terms of their stats and ability to equip items, their malleability regarding usable magic spells is quite helpful. Of course, GOGO previously stopped by for an optional boss fight in Final Fantasy V, so having them return here in a new light is pretty cool. Number 8. Tagging in King Mickey. Kingdom Hearts 2. King Mickey is among the most common and beloved mascots of the entire Kingdom Hearts series. While he appears more easily and frequently in some other entries, he's only playable in Kingdom Hearts 2 when he needs to assist your party in a major confrontation. You see, if Sora dies during particular boss encounters, you'll be given two choices. It's all over, or I won't give up. If you pick the latter, King Mickey will show up and stick around until he's defeated too, or Sora is brought back to life. Either way, he gets out of dodge immediately after one of these two things happen. Sure, Mickey only has a handful of moves and it's impossible for him to deal the final blows to your foes, but he can do a considerable amount of damage. Just remember that the likelihood of him jumping in decreases each time he enters the battle. Number 7. The Pity Smash. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Ever since it came out in 2008, the third main chapter of Masahiro Sakurai's prized IP, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, has been its most contentious. Undoubtedly, the Pity Smash is a key factor in its sustained polarization, doubling down on the inherent cheapness, or awesomeness depending on your perspective, of final smashes. Once a combatant loses a match by 5 or more points or stocks, amidst failing to knock out anyone else, they'll return to the stage ready to do a final smash, no floating orb trigger required. In other words, the computer thinks that kicking the bucket a handful of times without trouncing an opponent beforehand is shameful enough to more or less grant you a free victory. On one hand, this mechanic might level the playing field for inexperienced or lackluster players, but on the other hand, it cheapens the competitive nature of each round. Plus, a Pity Smash is unlikely to save someone who's already that far behind their rivals. Number 6. Easy mode, Devil May Cry 3. Devil May Cry 2 is widely hailed as one of the worst video game sequels of all time. It certainly made WhatCulture's list, thus calling its 2005 follow-up a vast improvement, if not the best of the bunch, isn't exactly a stretch. In addition to other attributes, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening harkened back to the strategy and challenge that was present in the 2001 original. Consequently, it's caused plenty of annoying demises for veterans and newcomers alike, to the point that they probably wondered if they'd even be able to finish it. Enter Easy Mode, which becomes available if hero Dante passes away 3 times. When initiated, it lessens the damage enemies do and lowers their health. If that wasn't enough, there's the optional Easy Automatic mode. Essentially, it permits auto combos, allowing Dante to perform complex moves with a single button, and rapid fire for his signature pistols, Ebony and Ivory. When playing as Virgil, you can use summon swords mid-combo without hitting the shoot button. Granted, these aids diminish Devil May Cry's trademark incentive for skill and patience, but sometimes you just want to chill out, mash buttons, and kick ass. Number 5. 16 times for the legendary sword, Alundra. One of the many PS1 RPGs seemingly abandoned by time and newer technologies, Alundra was a fairly dark entry into the genre. Alongside more typical subject matter, existentialism, destiny, and faith, were examinations of clinical depression and deadly nightmares. Of course, it had several maddening segments that likely resulted in a lot of lost lives. As with many RPGs, however, there's an exclusive weapon, the legendary sword, that'll help those who frequently fall and finally conquer their foes. First, the namesake lead has to acquire the power glove from the blacksmith Jess and use the quick restart option after at least 16 deaths. When both of those conditions are met, Alundra can go to the statue of King Snow, which is west of Inoa village, use the power glove to lift it, and obtain the legendary sword. It's the most potent blade available, so it's well worth securing for the rest of your adventure. Number 4. GREGG the Grim Reaper, CONKER'S Bad Fur Day. Given its crass sense of humor and generally cartoonish vibe, it's kinda surprising to find that cult classic CONKER'S Bad Fur Day, as well as its 2005 remake CONKER Live and Reloaded, isn't without its trials and tribulations. For sure, the eponymous foul-mouthed furball will undoubtedly meet his maker multiple times across the game's 9 chapters. Fortunately, developer Rare accounted for this by introducing GREGG the Reaper, who's named after designer Greg Mayles. Basically, the gloomy English skeleton, whose height and patience are extremely limited, resentfully agrees to help Conker when he first shows up in the hereafter. Specifically, he sarcastically explains how squirrel tails, that is lives, work before sending the vulgar rodent back to the world of the living. Later, Greg turns up to the spooky level to give Conker a shotgun with which to execute zombies. All the while, he's trying to murder catfish with a scythe because, well, he really hates them. What a nice fellow. Number 3. Dynamic Difficulty Adjustment, Crash Bandicoot series. Super Smash Bros. Brawl isn't the only title on this list to shower pity on an unqualified player. Considering that the Crash Bandicoot series spawned at least a few famously challenging 3D platformers, namely the formative PlayStation trilogy, it's absolutely warranted. First implemented in 97's Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, dynamic difficulty adjustment kicks in when Crash dies half a dozen times in any given section. Beyond receiving a Pity Aku Aku mask that activates invincibility, certain crates will become checkpoints if he dies another half a dozen times. As for chase levels, when neither of those aids apply, whatever's pursuing Crash will slow down. Gratefully, saved games will remember his struggles too, so those features will remain during rebooted playthroughs. Also, each sequel handles DDA differently. And no, we aren't digging into all of that right now, so your mileage may vary. According to director Jason Rubin, the creator's mantra became to help weaker players without changing the game for the better players. And mission accomplished. Number 2. The Old Couple's Whistle, The Seventh Saga. The Seventh Saga was far from a universally cherished SNES RPG. Frankly, it largely garnered mediocre to negative reviews upon release, but its Mode 7 visuals and non-linear narrative were nevertheless commendable. The same can't be said about its boss battles, with Ghost Dog Romus in Iron Castle being a good example. He must be defeated in order to attain the Key of the Earth needed to open the Gate of the Earth, which is easier said than done since you have to be at level 5 to even stand a chance of vanquishing him. That is, unless you know a very useful secret. Once Romus kills you, don't immediately instigate a rematch. Instead, head to the southwest corner of nearby town Rablesk and look for an elderly couple. If you speak with them, they'll hand over a whistle that will annihilate Romus without much effort. Take that, you haunted hound. Number 1. The White Tanuki Suit, Super Mario 3D World. This might be the most well-known post-death reward in modern gaming, but it's still worth mentioning. First seen in 2011 Super Mario 3D Land, the white TANOOKI suit is obtained from an invincibility leaf that's housed within an assist block. It appears after Mario or another playable character in single-player mode loses 5 times in virtually all levels. As you'd expect, it ensures that Mario won't take damage from enemies while adorning the costume. However, he can still perish from falling off the stage into lava, poisonous waters, or anything that waits below. Plus, completionists will find that there are 2 major downsides to it. The completion stars on the save file will lose their shine, and the score of the level will stay at 0. Luckily, both impediments can be undone if the level is played without the suit. Regarding the multiplayer side of Super Mario 3D World, the amount of lost lives required for the suit goes up with each additional teammate. Specifically, you need 12 deaths for 2 players, 18 for 3, and 24 for 4. That seems fair, no? That's the end of our list, but let me know down in that comment section if you can think of any other video game rewards that are unlocked by dying. As always, I've been Jess from WhatCulture. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like, you can come say hi to me on my Twitter account where I'm at Jess McDonald, but make sure you stay tuned to us here for plenty more gaming goodness.